All right, so this is our last section for chapter 2. So this is going to be Algebra of Functions 2.4. So what we're really doing is we're going to take two functions and we're going to add them, subtract them, multiply, and divide them. After we do that, what we're doing is creating a new function, and we're going to determine the domain of these new functions. So suppose A is in the domain of two functions f and g. The input A is paired with f of A by f and with g of A by g. The outputs can then be added to get f of A plus g of A. So as an example here, let's say I have a function. A function f, and I know if I put 3 in, 2 comes out. I also know with g, if I put 3 in, then 6 comes out. So this here is going to be a whole new function we're calling h. So what h is h is just f minus g. So when we figure that out, whatever it is, that's not the important part right now. But what we know is that if I have 3 in here, now h of 3 would be f of 3. That was a plus there. F of 3 plus g of 3, which is going to be 2 plus 6 equals 8. So if I add two functions, all I'm doing is I'm adding their two outputs. If instead I was subtracting, then I would just subtract their outputs. There you go, put that in there. Here, let me go back and fix that. There go 3. So all we're really saying here is that I can make a new function that's the sum or maybe the difference of two functions, and whatever is my input becomes the input of your f and your g, and we're just doing a sum of the difference of those outputs. So f and g are functions. If f and g are functions and x is in the domain of both functions, so it has to be in both, because if it's not in one of them, then the whole thing is undefined at that point. What we have here is our new functions. So we add our function notations together. So we have f plus g of x, which is just going to be f of x plus g of x. We have the function, or subtract the function notations of f and g to the x. That is just f of x minus g of x. Then we would multiply those functions, f and g. So we have f times g of x, which is f of x times g of x. Then the difference of f and g, f of g and x, is just f of x minus g of x. And this one is the only one that has the caveat that we have to make sure this one works for things that are in the domain and range of both f and g, but also we need to make sure that g is not 0, because if g is 0, then it's undefined. So for examples here, we have two functions. So the first one is going to be f of x, which is 2x minus x squared, and then g of x, which is equal to 3x plus 1. So first thing we want to do is figure out what f plus g of 4 is. So one of the things we know here is from the previous slide is that this turns into just f of f plus g of f. So just need to figure out what those are. So parentheses around it. So f is going to be 2 times 4 minus 4 squared. And then g is going to be 3 times 4 plus 1. So I'm just putting those whole functions in here. Here we're going to get 8 minus 16. We're going to get 12 plus 1. So we got minus 8 plus 13. So that one's going to be 5. So for b, we have f minus g of x. So this time, what we're looking at is that we have f of x minus g of x. And I don't have anything to replace x with, so I'm just going to write what f is. Well, f is just 2x minus x squared, and then we're subtracting g of x, which is just 3x plus 1. So we get 2x minus x squared minus 3x minus 1, because we're distributing that negative. This is going to give me, if we start putting together like terms, you would have a negative x squared. So 2x minus 3x is just going to be x minus 1. So what this is that this is just a new function. Like I said, and we just call that new function f minus g of x. Same kind of similar thing for, not exactly same, a similar thing for c. So now we have division here. So we know that this is the same as just saying I need f of x divided by g of x. So that would be 2x minus x squared over 3x plus 1. Just as long as the denominator is not 0. We really just need to focus on this part, but just want to specify that again. We're worried where that denominator is going to be 0 still. And then for d, we got multiplication. So this is the same as saying f of minus 1 times g of negative 1. So my f is going to be 2 times negative 1 minus negative 1 squared times my g. So we have g times negative 1 plus 1. So we're going to have a negative 2 minus negative 1 squared. It's going to be a positive 1, but we already had subtraction. And then 3 times negative 1 is 3 plus 1. Negative 3 times negative 2. And that one should give me 6. All right, I'm pretty sure you used this by now. So if you bring out your worksheet, work on number 8. You are provided that with your f of x, which is 2x squared minus 3x, and your g of x, which is 7x minus 1. So perform the following A, B, C, and D here. And like I said, take a break, do that, and come back and we'll go through it. All right, so for A, we're just adding the two functions. So we know that this is going to be the same as saying that I have f of x plus g of x. So f of x is just 2x squared minus 3x. And then we're adding on g of x, which is 7x minus 1. And then from here, we're just going to simplify. So we get a minus 3x plus a 7x, so that will just be 4x. And then we have the minus 1. So this is just my new function here. Like I said, this says that f of g of x is just 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. It's my new function. So g minus f of negative 2. So we need g of negative 2. So to have it wrote g first, not f. So we just still make sure that we put g first. So let's do it over here on the side. G of negative 2 would be 7 times negative 2 minus 1. So it would be negative 14 minus 1. So negative 15. F of negative 2, that is going to be 2 times negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2. Mess up a little extra room here. That's going to be 2 times 4 plus 6, because that's a negative and a negative. So now we have 8 plus 6, and we get 14. So what we know is that, put it over here instead, that g of -2 should be -15, and then subtract f of 2, which is a positive 14, but we're subtracting it, so this ends up turning into a -29. So that's just the value of this function at -2. I said, every time we're adding, subtracting these functions or multiplying, dividing them, we're just like creating a new function. Let me pick a different color here. All right, so now we have f over g, sorry, f divided by g of 1. So this is just f of 1 over g of 1. So I gotta move something out of the way on my screen. So once again, what is f of 1? Well, f of 1 would be 2 times 1 squared minus 3 times 1. So that'd be 2 minus 3, or -1. And what is g of 1? Well, it is 7 times 1 minus 1, and that's going to be 6. So this one just turns into a -1/6. And the last one is we're multiplying two functions. So this is kind of a bit of a review for something that's coming up later. Put this out here. So that is just f of g, or sorry, f of x times g of x. So that is going to be 2x squared minus 3x times 7x minus 1. So hopefully you remember distributions. So what we're going to do is take this and multiply it to this. So we will end up with a 14x to the third. Take this and multiply to this. It's going to give me a -2x squared. And then here we're going to do the -3x to positive 7x. That is going to be a -21x squared. And then -1, or -3x times -1 is going to be a positive 3x. If I just simplify, -23x squared plus 3x, that is my new function. So that is going to be my f times g of x.